I'm at a rest stop on a road trip across the country. I've been hearing music from this guy the entire time. You want to sing for us? This is the first time he's been silent all day. There we go. Can you say hi to the camera? Yes, I decided to quit my job, move out of my house, load everything I owned into my car, and explore the country with my cat. Come along for my adventures. So first real stop is Moo's Creamery. Maybe the best ice cream spot in Arizona. Probably not, but best one in Yuma. I got a Girl Scout cookie Samoa ice cream. And Andy waited outside for me, very impatiently. Come on, let's go. Andy, come here. Good boy. All right, let's go down this way. Come on. You scared of the rocks? Touch the rocks. Andy, come on. Here. It's okay. You can touch the rocks. It's allowed. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Now, my first 2 days in Arizona were not exactly a normal travel experience because I was staying with my parents in their retirement community, which was kind of fitting because we did joke that I was also retired right now. Coming from California, this might be my favorite part. And that it's gonna get better from here. See cactus as my cat sings his song of agony. Hey, I am eating spring rolls at an amazing rest stop, at least for the views. This is in Arizona, and spring rolls because why not make a road trip a little bit classier? I even got a road trip shirt for today. Look at this view, it's great. And here is my favorite traveling companion, who I'm definitely not his favorite traveling companion because he hates to travel. Andy! Say hi, Andy! Ignore us, Andy! Okay. Anyways, just to catch you up on where I've been so far. I left California a couple days ago. I had a car top carrier, I had a bike rack with my e-bike on it, and inside the car was even fuller. There was no room for anything, really. There was barely room for you, was there, Andy? Yep. So, I stopped in south of Tucson, Arizona. I was originally planning to either store my stuff in Tucson, at least the majority of my stuff either in Tucson or in El Paso, because those were the cheapest areas along my route that had, for as far as storage units went. El Paso was cheaper, but the advantage of Tucson is that it was near my parents' house, so I knew I'd be going back there at some point in time anyways to pick up my stuff, so I wouldn't have to make a special trip necessarily. However, before I left, my parents did say that they had a little bit of extra space in their garage, and you know what's better than a cheap storage unit? Free storage. So, got rid of all my stuff there. Now my car is over here next to this truck behind me. So you can see there is no more bike rack because I considered taking my bike with me because I thought it'd be fun to rent a bike. But considering the drag that it had and the extra weight on my car, it'd probably be cheaper to rent a bike as I needed it or just walk because I do enjoy walking as well as biking. And the car top carrier I was able to take everything from the car top carrier, put it inside the car, and then all the bins that I had inside the car are in my parents' garage now. So that's where I am. I'm getting much better gas mileage today between the lack of car top carrier, the lack of, I lost, several hundred pounds worth of weight for the cargo. And also, while I was at my parents' house, we checked the tire pressure. It was not up to par, so now my tires are properly inflated. I'm getting double the gas mileage as I was a couple days ago driving from California to Arizona. So today I'm driving through the rest of Arizona, also driving through New Mexico. We will have a fun stop coming up there. And then the end goal for today is El Paso. What is the thing? It's like an Arizona-themed Gravity Falls. Another state, another tourist trap. And there's my little jungle cat stretching his legs. Hopefully he'll come out, because I do not want to go in there after him. Yeah, welcome to the Continental Divide. I don't know why this is the Continental Divide, because there are no mountains for the water to run one way or the other.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. So apparently there are a ton of these tourist traps along the I-10 through Arizona and New Mexico. They're all owned by the same company, so they know that they're trying to get you. Thank you, Bolin. So Andy's in jail for trying to escape, but he does have an ice cream, and so do I. This is the Hatch Green Chili Sundae from Calichi's. So this thing actually is pretty good. Made with Hatch Green chilies. I'm in Las Cruces right now. They're known for green chilies, so that's why they're famous for this sundae. Andy's not too happy with his ice cream cone. We're just not happy that we're here. He's not a good road trip buddy. When we got to El Paso, Andy finally got to do what he wanted to do, which was sleep on a bed in the hotel. Meanwhile, my friend and I went out to an indoor rock climbing place. Good job. 5'8". I finally get to record from inside my car because I don't have my passenger meowing his head off the entire time right now. Because once I got to El Paso, I went to my friend's hotel. She's deployed here with the Army, so I dropped my cat off there. He's chilling in his room. We headed to the gym, where of course the cat was not allowed, so worked out perfectly. He wouldn't have liked it anyways. Oh my goodness, my arms are sore right now. I have not rock climbed in a while, and even when I did, I always, gave up a little too soon. So that was kind of intense for me. My friend's working an overnight shift, so I'm gonna head back to the hotel and just chill out, eat some leftovers, hang out with my cat Andy, and do some planning for the rest of this trip. Also, bright and early tomorrow because we're on military time now and we've got an assignment at the base tomorrow. Stay tuned. I'm in my friend's hotel room for the night. Andy is actually kind of enjoying it. He was here while we were rock climbing, so he has more experience here than I do. He hasn't really cried or anything since we got here, so yeah. He seems so tortured, doesn't he? But yeah, let's take a little quick room tour. Got a TV, which I've never owned a TV really, at least not a flat screen TV. I've owned a tube TV. I've got some of my stuff here. This is the kind of the stuff I'm bringing in for the night, each night for my car. Got my laptop and my laptop stuff back behind the cat. I do need to catch up on work soon, but I don't think that's going to happen tonight. Andy's cat carrier. I got him a litter box while I was in Arizona because he is litter trained, but he always went outside. But Obviously, in a room like this, it's better for him to have a litter box. His food's over here. There's his ice cream that he didn't eat from Calichi's in New Mexico. Got my room key and my regular key, and his food scoop too. And then one thing I don't think I mentioned yet is Andy is not the only animal I'm traveling with. Are you, Andy? No, you're not. You're just, the one that is the loudest. Because I'm also traveling with my compost worms. They are somewhere in here. They're just, as long as they don't get too hot or too cold, they're pretty much fine, or too dry. So I've just been keeping their bin moist. I added some greens that my mom was cooking with yesterday. But yeah, I don't see any of them right now, but they've just been hanging out in the center console. So yeah, I'm traveling with like over 50 animals if you think about it that way. Just 2 different species. 3 if you count me. Good morning. So it is 6 a.m., which kind of feels like 5 a.m. being from California. But it's still, I'm eating pretty quickly. My friend worked a night shift, so it was just me and Andy in the hotel room last night. And then I have to get to the military base soon to meet up with my friend because she is getting a promotion. So that'll be exciting to see.
The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Army, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of First Lieutenant Smith. In view of these special qualities and her demonstrated potential to serve in the next higher grade, First Lieutenant Smith is promoted to the rank of Captain, United States Army, effective on the 12th day of November 2025 by order of the Secretary of the Army. So now she can come forward. Get off, ring on. Knock the air out of her.
Got a handful of cat food, so it's a little hard to navigate, but it's also weird to carry a handful of cat food through a hotel. Andy, I'm home! How are you? Why do you look weird? Did you miss me? I got food for you. I keep forgetting Valentine's Day is in a few days. It's things like strawberry Paris Hilton waffles with heart sprinkles that remind me. Alright, so had breakfast, saw my friend get her promotion to captain, and now she is taking a nap. Andy's also taking a nap because, well, my friend worked the overnight shift. Andy's just a cat. So I headed out to the Border Patrol Museum. So we're going to check that out and see what's over here. And then next door there's an archaeology museum as well, so we'll get to see 2 museums in one morning. So I no longer live in Pine Valley, California, and I expected once I left San Diego County to never even hear about Pine Valley again, other than when I bring it up. But I'm in El Paso right now at the Border Patrol Museum. Check this out. A picture taken at Pine Valley in 1937. Pretty crazy. I completed their scavenger hunt and got 2 stickers, which I am going to put on my trunks that happen to be in my car. But yeah, that was a pretty cool museum. Definitely recommend it. Learned a lot. Alright, there is the badge sticker on my trunk. Figure out where to put the canine one later. But yeah, this is the building for the Border Patrol Museum. And that is the building for the archaeology museum, so well, let's head over there. I think I'll drive. Wow. So the El Paso Museum of Archaeology has this cute garden with a bunch of native plants. I'm enjoying after going through the museum. Another one I definitely recommend. But now it is around lunchtime, and I think I'm gonna get some authentic Mexican food since I'm so close to the border. There's also Whataburger, but I'm gonna be in Texas for a few more days, so I'm sure I'll have plenty of other opportunities to get a Texan Whataburger. Okay, one interpretive trail before lunch. So local specialty is Chico's Tacos. They're rolled tacos that are soaked in a tomato soup-like sauce. I'm excited to try it. And I guess once you eat the tacos, you get a cheesy, saucy soup. One of the things that surprised me when I arrived in El Paso today was just how big it is. It is a huge city. I knew it was a city, but I didn't think it was that big. I mean, why else would they say down in the West Texas town of El Paso, right? Anyway, let's go hiking. Hiking! Action video.
Walking.
All right, we made it up there. And now we're back there and still have to go all the way down there. I'm back at the hotel. I have a little reception, so this is my dinner tonight. I'm just spending my evening drinking cocoa while Andy relaxes like he's been doing all day, watching a little TV, maybe do a little bit of work in a little bit. And this is breakfast. I added some nuts to the waffle batter before I made them, so they're a little more protein packed. And this should get me through today. So I got a couple goals for this morning. I'm headed to a national monument that I didn't even know existed. Thankfully, I have my National Parks passport book, so I can add to the stamp collection I have. Let me show you one of the stamp pages I already have, if I can find them. I'm kind of limited in the areas I've been to, so this will be my first one from Texas. But yeah, you get stamps like these at all national parks and national monuments, places like that. And the reason that this is a national monument is because of how close it is to the Mexican border, so it has lots of Mexican cultural history. So my other goal is to walk across the border into my first time in Chihuahua, Mexico. Hey, I hiked that mountain yesterday. That was a lot of work. So here is the border. Looks like there's pedestrians crossing through this way, so I just need to figure out how to get on the other side of this fence. Well, I definitely wasn't going to try to hop that fence right next to the border crossing, But since there is no end in sight for this trail, I think it's okay to hop this little fence. Shortcut. Now I just have to go back up there. Okay, I think I'm on the right path. We'll see if I'm right, because Google Maps was not helpful at this border entry. Yes, just minutes ago I was on the other side of this fence, and now I'm headed to the International Bridge. Well, now I'm in the pedestrian cage on the bridge. I'm excited to head to Chihuahua. This will be my, I believe, 5th Mexican state. That's pretty cool. So far I've been to both of the Bajas, Baja California and Baja California Sur. Been to Jalisco, and I've been to, what's the one that Mazatlan's in? Whatever state that is, because I've been to Mazatlan. And so now I've been to Chihuahua. I think the 6th Mexican state I'm going to eventually go to is Sonora, because my parents live relatively close to Sonora, and when I was visiting them a few days ago, I mentioned to my mom that she and I need to find a dentist across the border near her house, because when I lived near the Baja border, which was, like a week ago, I'd regularly go there for the dentist. I made a whole video about that if you want to check that out, and how you can save a lot of money by going to a Mexican dentist. But yeah, looks like I can see the wall right ahead of me, so I'm not technically in Mexico yet, but we are getting there. I also want to address an elephant in the room. I am wearing a shirt from a different Latin American country, as well as the hat from Nicaragua as well. So I mean, at least they match, but not for the country I'm in or going to. But I think that's kind of fun. I don't know, the other day was a Super Bowl 50 whatever, 2026 Super Bowl. And if you're watching this from the future, just a reminder that it was Bad Bunny doing the halftime show, and a lot of people got offended because he mentioned almost every country in the Americas. For some reason that offended people. I don't know, I think it's really cool to travel through the Americas. I've been through, obviously, United States, Mexico, Peru, Canada, where else? Nicaragua, Panama. So yeah, absolutely encourage travel. And speaking of which, I'm about to be on top of the Mexican-US border wall. Let's check it out. They purposely make it a little hard to see with 2 sets of chain link, but you can see the barbed wire as it comes into focus. There we go. Okay, so that is the border wall. So now I am standing with 1 foot in each country. And on the other side, they have a Welcome to Mexico sign. I think would be a lot cooler to see if I wasn't trapped in the string cage. Looks like there is a checkpoint though. Now this is a very long entrance. I know as far as land entrances go, I only have Tecate to compare to this, but still. So over there's the line to get back into the country. I'll have to figure out where the pedestrian entrance back to the United States is soon. Well then, let's go to this visitor center. Alright, I found a park. And there's dogs in the park. Okay. So these are all the United States of Mexico, which I think is pretty cool. Don't remember exactly how many there are, but quite a few. Not 50 like the United States, but still several. I've been to that one, I've been to that one. And on the other side of the state monuments is this monument to Benito Juarez, yeah, which the city is named after Benito Juarez, Ciudad Juarez. Sinaloa, that's the other Mexican state I've been to. So Sonora I have not been to yet, but probably the next one I'm going to. And I've been to Sinaloa. Good thing these are all in alphabetical order. This park is impressive. It's huge. Like everything you see around me right now is part of the park. And it actually smells decent, which I think comparing it back to Tecate and just Baja in general, a lot of the reason San Diegans did not want to go to Mexico is because of the sewage issue they have. It gets into the ocean, unfortunately, and it also just smells really bad. This museum is right in the middle of the Chamizal Park, and it's completely free, so definitely check it out if you're ever in Juarez. There's a picture of JFK. Well, I did enjoy that museum. Of course, you can't beat free. And we are going to go to that other free visitor center, the National Monument, over back in the United States. But the thing I liked about this museum, that I'm assuming will be in the other visitor center as well, is that it was about the local culture, but it wasn't stopping at the border, because the border between the United States and Mexico didn't always exist. So the culture was across where we now have borders. But even as the borders were formed, they still had a lot of American history, like US history, in this museum, because the things that affected the United States obviously also affect Mexico in this close proximity, and vice versa as well. So yeah, whether you're Mexican American or maybe even from overseas, this is definitely a cool museum to visit. It is in this lovely park. So yeah, unfortunately I don't have too much time to spend in the city of Juarez. There's a lot more to see, but this park is massive and it would take a while just to walk into downtown from where I'm currently am. So I'm probably going to head back into El Paso soon unless we see something that we have to stop for. You want to see a Mexican pyramid? There you go. Looks like there's an aqueduct behind it too. I should specify that if you're wanting to cross the same border that I crossed, it is the Chamizal entrance over Bridge of the Americas. There are actually, I believe, 4 entrances just in El Paso to Juarez, which in comparison I think there's not even that many in the entire state of California. There's the one to Tijuana, the one to Tecate, the one to Mexicali, and that might be it. So there's a lot of entrances in El Paso, so if you want something natural, it seems like this is a pretty good one. There are some that are a little bit more downtown if you want to explore more downtown and maybe get some Mexican food or something like that instead. But you don't even have to go to Mexico around here to get really good and affordable Mexican food. El Paso seems to have a lot of the same things for food and maybe even more accessible to most US citizens. Now I believe I need to cross this pedestrian bridge right here. Oh boy. Here we go. All right, there is the port of entry right there. There's the park I was just at, as well as the mountain that I hiked yesterday. That's on the US side. Looks like a pretty long line to get into the United States. Great views up here. One thing that I probably won't be able to visit is that X right there. That seems to be a pretty big monument, although I don't exactly know why. But that's what it is. You could actually see it while hiking yesterday up there. It's very prominent. So So it looks like I exit here and then just have to take this sidewalk up to those steps, and then I'm good to get back into the country. I guess if you want food or souvenirs, you can get them while waiting to cross the border. Here's the border. Looks, I'm going back in the pedestrian cage, except this time I not only have cars on one side of me, but semis on the other. United States. Oh my goodness, that took over half an hour to go through customs. There's only one Border Patrol agent working for a very long line of pedestrians trying to enter, which is kind of weird because, again, comparing back to the Tecate port of entry, there's hardly anybody that ever goes through there. And they always have a minimum of 2 Border Patrol agents. So I don't know why they chose this. This is clearly a much bigger operation, but I guess that's none of my business. So now, just walking back to the park over this way. You know, I'm sure the pedestrian entrance was still much shorter than waiting in line in a vehicle. I'm sure that was probably at least an hour, maybe 2 or more hours. But the downside of the pedestrian entrance was that building we were waiting in did not have air conditioning. This is Texas. So the entrance is just on the other side of the building. My car is still out in that parking lot. So let's check out the building first. So overall, my review is that the museum I went to on the Mexican side of the border is better, but the advantage of this one on the US side is that it is entirely bilingual. The one on the Mexican side was mostly in Spanish. There were a few English translations for a few things, but I was able to understand a lot more due to this visitor center here on the US side. So let me show you something really cool that I learned in there. The reason they chose this area specifically for the Chamizal National Memorial is because this was not always the United States. Of course, I know back before the United States had Texas, it was obviously something more than that. But this was a disputed area between the United States and Mexico. So on this map I got, you can see that this whole area was disputed between the United States and Mexico. Up here at the top of this park is where the boundary line used to be, which is now commemorated with these pillars here. And for reference, today, United States, way over there. Like if you can see any buildings off in the distance, it's way past the parking lot. There is a theater that's still part of this park. So behind that, anything you see behind that is Mexico. So this was something that was settled years ago, but it has very interesting history, just this little strip of land right here. Now let's continue the museum tour of El Paso. But first, I need an authentic Texas lunch. Hatch green chili Whataburger.
machine, I could never get up in the morning. I overslept. I didn't make the truck. So I got as a senior boss, started going to the restaurant. Tables are the left table. Sometimes you make trash, smells, and
Okay, after all that heavy stuff, I'm gonna talk about that in a second, but just a little fun break. Those are my apartments. But seriously, that was a great museum. I didn't take too much video just out of respect. They also asked for, you know, certain things that could be seen as disrespectful to not be done, like selfies or anything like that. So I highly encourage you to see the Holocaust Museum in El Paso. I believe it is the only bilingual English-Spanish Holocaust museum in the country, maybe even the world. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But yeah, so definitely check that one out, very impactful. And now we are like a block away from another museum. Let's check that one out. Well, that was another good museum. It was a little bit smaller than what I was expecting, but I did learn a lot about the history of this town I'm currently in. One of the things was every other place I went to this morning, I learned a lot about Mexican and Latino culture here. And then at the Holocaust Museum, I learned about the Jewish culture that is pretty small around here, but still prevalent. And in there, I learned about a bunch of different cultures. In addition to learning more about the Mexican and Latino history and the Spaniard history, there's a whole section on the Asian immigrants. There's a little bit about the Black residents. So this is a very multicultural city. So it's great to learn about all of that. And now, I'm not going to a museum next, but I am going to some place that is unique to El Paso, and I think will be really cool to see. Come check it out with me. So I am very glad I decided to spend 3 nights here in El Paso, just to see some more of the museums and things like that. But if you know me, you know that I haven't really been to a place unless I eat the ice cream that's there. Especially like local ice cream shops that have something unique about them. This one I don't know much about the flavors. It's usually unique flavors that I'm looking for. But this one sounds pretty cool. I just looked it up while I was at the museum using their free Wi-Fi. It's called Gozo's. The pictures I saw looked great, so already sold. But the really cool thing about this ice cream shop is that it is run by people with developmental disabilities to help them gain life skills and job experience. So I think that'll be really cool to see how that works out. Got the Dino Dig. This is the interior. Okay, you gotta go there. Very sweet employees, good ice cream, and they're really making a difference in the community. So, Gozo's, whenever you go through El Paso, go to Gozo's.